Right. Good morning, ladies, and welcome to our class today. We're going to learn all about saying no and how no is a love word. My name is Tia Huntsberger. I am part of Dr. Tracy's team, and in just a minute, I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Tracy. Let's just jump right in and officially welcome Dr. Tracy Kemble, who's going to be kicking off our class today.
Hello, Queens. I'm so happy to see each and every one of you. For those of you who I've never had the chance to physically meet, I'm Dr. Tracy, and I am the head of the Feminine Boss Academy, as well as 3 other different businesses that I own. And I'm really excited to be leading this class, because as the head of the Feminine Boss Academy, one of the things that's really important for me to do is to teach a woman how to become the boss of her bee, which is 100% you and your business, right? And I was thinking about this very carefully to make sure that how do we stay on mission? Because in a world that we just get bombarded with so many things that our sweet little brain doesn't have a chance to put the no or the boundary up to what our eyes take in, that it's important to me that it remain a very simple and clear vision. And that vision is to become the boss of your bee, the authentic you without issues and trauma, woo, and your business. Because I personally believe that we're not meant to come here and get a job, that we are here to go into a career that we can monetize. It's simply an extension of us, because that is truly where the power and our gifts and our donations to the world lie. All right. I mentioned all that because the slogan of the Feminine Boss Academy is to become the boss of your bee and your business. How does that tie in to running a class that's called No is a Love Word? And I'll tell you, I had the neatest download the other day, and it's so fun being this oracle of the great divine, but I had the neatest download that really, it did a bit of a pivot shift for me. And I share that for all of you who, you think, where am I going to be in 5 years? Where am I going to be in 10 years? Where am I going to be? Because I'm 60, so I've been around just a little bit. And the fact that I am my age and I'm at the stage of my business, and I experience a change that makes me like shift and distill my mission is really exciting. And that's the beautiful thing, is I'm sidebarring just a second, but it does tie into No is a Love Word, is the importance of you want to know how to keep life passionate and fun and exciting, pursue your dreams. That's all there is to it, because it's like waking up to new Christmas tree presents every single day as your dream just unfolds with new ideas. And so let me just share this with you, because it's so exciting. It's exciting to me anyways. Those of you who know a little bit about me, that my heart, my passion is, I love studying energy, and I love studying this whole process of manifestation. And a year and a half ago, I got this amazing download, and it said there are 4 types of manifestors. Oh, what's that? And there's a messy manifester, there's a manic manifester, there's a magical manifester, and then there's a miraculous manifester. The biggest difference between the miraculous manifester and the magical manifester is that the miraculous manifester doesn't have to wait 10,000 years for their dream and the desire to happen. And when I look back on my life, I think, why did I have to learn that lesson so late? And after a season of some, what I call my crap salads, right? I actually use a different word, and the reason that is as everything in life has its perfect timing, I needed the presence of my age and a life crisis that allowed me to see how short life is, to really say, I don't have 7 years to wait for my dreams to come along, because that would be like my norm. It would go on my manifestation, and I'm like, okay, it'll be here in about 5 years. right? And so where I am in my life right now is I'm like, no, I want it now. I want it. If I have a dream and a desire, I want to be able to start living that dream and desire the second that I can make room for it, and the second that I know that I have the skills coming my way to execute it. My entire journey within the feminine boss community is really to help women manifest their life by design effortlessly. And I'm like, okay, there's four types of manifestors, and my whole life has been about, or where it's come to right now, is I have a very clear understanding that in order to manifest the life that we want, we need to simply have formulas. Water boils at a certain point, we can rely on that. And because we're talking about manifestations, it's dealing with a universal law or science. So we can rely on it 100%. My journey to reclaiming myself, becoming a feminine boss, doing everything that I'm doing has really been an eye opener, because I realized along the way that I didn't get so many successful formulas in my toolbox growing up. And the reason that life was so difficult for so long was because, not that the universe was against me, not that people are evil, not that I don't deserve it, or all the things that my trauma told me. It's that I just simply didn't have the right formula. And I'll give you a really great example. Is the other day in my prayer and meditation time, and then after that, a subsequent conversation with my brother, we were talking about things, and I said, one thing I've learned about reinventing my formula book, my recipe book to life, is that I was given a really wrong formula, and having this formula as a foundation in my life kept me in a stage of sufferance for years and years. And the way the law works is that if I sit in sufferance and I wake up to sufferance and I think about sufferance and I see sufferance all day long, guess what I'm going to manifest more of? Sufferance. The fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. So I realized, and I'm sharing this with you to give you an example of formulas and how we need to challenge our formulas, because no is a love word. It's all about learning a new formula. So the formula that I learned that was actually a bit destructive to me in the long run was a formula. And how many of you, this by show of hands, have you had this? Work hard, pray harder, and live by the golden rule, which is do unto others as you want done unto you. Let me tell you, I dedicated my life. That was the foundation of my life. Work hard, Tracy, get up, and I'd work to the point of complete burnout and disappointment, because I was working really hard and not having any traction. And have any of you experienced that, where you really put your full effort into it? At the end of the day, when it's just you, yourself, and the universe or God or divine, however you reference it, there alone in the room. And you can look up at your higher source and say, I gave it my best shot. Why didn't it turn out the way my heart desired? Right? And it can create this resentment and this pain, which when we start vibrating that, guess what we're going to vibrate? More disappointment and confusion and blur and pain. So I worked hard to the point of exhaustion and disappointment and burnout. I prayed harder, but what I realized is I wasn't praying harder. I was just flapping my pie hole at the universe. And what happened is that I just needed to and start to receive my answer. That, what trauma has us do is trauma has us overshare, or trauma has us talk too much because we're so used to not being heard by either a family of origin or people around us. And so what happens is that we feel like we have to ask the same thing 10,000 times not to be forgotten. And my prayer and meditation life has completely taken a turn in that I wake up in the morning and, okay, I always happen to ask the universe, good morning, how are you? Okay, like it needs my, how are you? Good morning, how are you? And I do that more like a clarity of understanding. I understand you're there. You are visible and clear in my life. And good morning, how are you? And I literally just state the things that are in my mind. I need some please, please and thank you. I need some clarity when it comes to this and this. I don't know how to handle the situation. Please send me a person, place, the situation, whatever it takes for me to learn my next step. I don't need the final answer because I'm always evolving. My next step on this. Oh, and then after I list my things, then I go into this season of just this place of just complete gratitude. Oh, and by the way, thank you for this. And oh my gosh, thank you for that. And thank you for that. And thank you for that. And I'm feeling so loved because there's a clear evidence that it's one of my mantras in life. I am in the divine's viewfinder 24/7. There's not a second of a day that I slip out of that viewfinder. And as somebody who has trauma wounds of abandonment, it's just so healing to reach that point. So now I'm going to circle back around to why I'm sharing this. I'm going to circle back around to how it ties into the class. So work hard, pray harder, and live by the golden rule. And that's the one that we're going to talk about today, because how many of you in the room have lived by the golden rule, that you have treated people to the best of your ability only to have them harm you or hurt you or steal something from you or take advantage of you? Anybody? That's been okay, good. Thank you. And what I learned from that is we're not supposed to work hard. We're supposed to work smart. And that's what I teach in the Feminine Boss Academy. We're not supposed to pray harder. We're supposed to live in a sense of gratitude and 100% knowledge that the universe wakes up and it's all about me in that universe's eyes. And the beautiful thing about God or universe, however you reference it, there's plenty of room for all of us to be that soul focus. So I don't need to pray harder because I really believe that understanding the laws of the universe, I do my part, the science will kick in and the manifestation happens. And the third part is about the golden rule: treat people as you want to be treated. And this one, when I realized, wow, this is not a good formula for me. Now, for other people, this may work, but for me as a feminine, it's not a good formula. That the true formula, as my brother gave it the name the other day, it's called the platinum formula, not the gold the golden form. It's a platinum formula, the golden rule. It's a platinum rule, not the golden rule. And that's one of the things I'm going to be teaching you today is how is it if we are these kind, caring empaths? And an empath is somebody who feels life before they see life, unless you're seeing it through your spiritual eyes. It's somebody who we intuitively can pick up on energies in the room. We can walk into somebody's house and say, "Oh, what's going on here?" Or we are very sensitive to people who are energy vampires, that they could even walk by us like this and we're like, "Oh, come back, get yourself back." And especially as an empath, learning this protective word called no is a non-negotiable, because we could easily give ourselves out all in the name of love and kindness. Because the beautiful thing about going through life as an empath is that we really have the inside scoop on deep love, that we love deeply, we forgive easily, which is not always the right thing when somebody what hasn't earned your trust. So the platinum rule is a rule that says trust but verify. That was President Reagan that really put those into words. Trust but verify. And because at the core of my being, I'm a good person. I am not wired to manipulate. I am not wired to think on the different levels that I can get ahead. Don't get me wrong. I love infrastructure. I love strategy. I love sitting down and saying, okay, how are we going to launch this ship? But I'm not one to say, let's go steal that from our competitor. Let's go do that. Let's go do this and take away from somebody else in order to get my need met. So I go through life. Anybody can relate to me. Just give me a show of hands. I go through life really maybe a little bit handicapped. that I'm not a suspicious person. I don't see the worst in people right away. Do you understand? So this puts us at a little bit of a handicap. And what this is simply being an empath. And when we are empaths, we have to learn to this amazing gift that we have. And I say amazing because if I wasn't an empath, I wouldn't be able to be this oracle for the great divine. I wouldn't be able to have literally my soul open up to the universe to say, take me on this journey, and to do it with humility and gratitude that I'm in this place to do it. The ego doesn't kick in and things of that nature because I'm a true empath. And part of you really stepping into your feminine boss, your divine feminine, is that declaration that, you know what, I'm an empath. And it's no different than saying I'm a sugar diabetic, because this means you have to take certain protections in your life every single day in order not to be hurt by people and situations around us. So the platinum rule is trust but verify. And this is all leading into what I'm going to be teaching about. No is a love word. Because one thing we empaths do is we trust. And then when somebody confirms that they're not trustworthy, we excuse it away. Ah, they're just having a bad day. Oh, they're having a bad life. Oh, it was an off moment. Oh, maybe I misinterpreted it. Maybe I did something wrong to create this in my life. Instead of having a boundary. And when we're talking about no, we're just simply talking about an emotional boundary that says, wait a minute, trust is a day by day earned position in my life. One of the goals of living a full life is to live in what's called a presence of unguarded. When you can live unguarded, you can really operate in love. So, what does unguarded mean? Unguarded means like this. I'm open, I'm open, I'm open, I'm open, right? I'm open. And I don't have to live like this or this or this. Because I'm not a manipulative person, it's natural for me to live unguarded. But because we live in a world where there are manipulative people, we have to learn to first have them earn our trust and verify. We can trust immediately. I trust you. I trust you until you do something that's not. So I trust you until you lose my trust. That circles us back around to this beautiful word called no. In the English language, no is one of the smallest words in the dictionary. And yet in life, it's one of the most powerful words we can use and embrace and construct our life with. At the end of the day, how many, when you hear the word no, do you be like, God, I have to tell that person no? Oh gosh. Or, oh my God, they told me no. Oh, that hurts so bad. At the end of the day, no is a love word because the word no keeps the bad out and the good in. And so every single time we use this word no, we're simply making a decision in our life to keep the bad out and the good in. And going back to something that I said, I had this like epiphanic moment just recently when it comes to manifesting. And the download that I got is when it comes to manifesting, you're not, when the end goal isn't to manifest. Okay, that's an action, it's a thing. The end goal is to live in joy because the main ingredient that we need to manifest is the element of joy. Oh, that is just so amazing. Joy is not happiness. Happiness is when you're sitting around with your friends and you're cracking up or you're experiencing this moment, but then all of a sudden you find, oh my gosh, now I'm back to having a bad day or something of that nature. So happiness and joy are two different things. Joy is an internal pilot light that lives within you that nobody has the power to put out, that even in the darkest moments, there is still hope, there is still clarity. It doesn't mean you're not going to get hurt and mourn, but the pilot light's not out. You're very aware of, I'm feeling this way because this trauma took place. And I have joy because I know that there's a solution out of it. Why? Because according to the divine feminine order, it says there's a perfect solution already in place as long as I align myself with it. That's what I build my life on, is understanding there is a perfect solution in place as long as I align myself with it. And this was, I was asked the other day, because I used to have anxiety really bad. When did all that start to end? And I said, I think when I learned that I had that solution in my life, that formula in my life, that what if the perfect solution was out there? And I just started to live in a state of what if, but that's for another class, right? All right. So this word no, the whole purpose is to keep the bad out and the good in. And the reason that this is so important is that to manifest, we must vibrate at certain levels. I know that people say, oh, that sounds so let's smoke some pot and vibrate high, baby. But it's not what that means. Words vibrate, thoughts vibrate. And so it means to live at a certain vibration, and it will activate the law of attraction. Like attracts like, and that's how you do it. But the main ingredient in manifesting your life is to live in joy. And so my purpose and my focus right now, yes, I'm going to be teaching people the formulas, but the end goal is to live in joy. Because if you don't have joy, it's like trying to take your powder drink. And if you guys drink protein powders or emergency or any vitamin C tablets, right? And it's trying to swallow that without water. You need the water to activate the ingredients for it to get into your body. The joy is the same thing. We need the joy in order to be able to manifest our life. So this class is all about getting you to joy when it comes to dealing with rejection, either you experiencing rejection or you having to put up the boundary of no. So the very first thing that I want to cover is, so a couple of things let's start here. Why is it that we fear saying no? There are many reasons why people fear saying no. But I believe that as a woman, it comes down to two things. Number one, we have never been taught that it's our right to say no. In fact, we have been deconstructed in saying no. When a child is around 2 or 3 years old, do you know what their favorite word is? No, 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 no. I'm going to share a true story with you just to bring this point home. It was several years ago, and I spent a lot of time in Greece, and I was at my friend's house. And this friend of mine has two girls and one boy. And the boy, his name is Yanis. And Yanis was playing in the backyard with his friend Dimitri. And all of a sudden, Yanis, he's around 6 years old. He comes walking in the house and he's crying. And his father says to him, Yanis, why are you crying? And he says, because Dimitri took my train and I'm so upset and blah, blah, blah. And the father says, Yanis, what did you do when Dimitri took your train? And he said, oh, he came in here and blah, 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 blah. And the father said to him, Yanis, I want you to turn around. I want you to go outside. I want you to take your truck back from your train back from Dimitri. And I want you to tell him, Dimitri, don't touch my things without asking me. You don't get to come in and just steal my things. Don't. That's a no. I literally almost fell off my chair. Why? Because I was never taught that. As a little girl, I was taught my job was to be polite, that when company comes over, my job is to share. Even if it's something that's super important to me, I'm to share. You know what a no is? A no is saying, no, I'm not going to share this. I can help you get your own joy, but not mine. So from the time we're young, we are deconstructed because we came into this world with these natural boundaries. We are deconstructed to somehow believe that it's feminine love, kindness, compassion, all the things that a female is, to to seeing that which we need to protect our heart and our soul is something bad. So that's one of the reasons why we have a hard time, is that from the time we were born, society has deconstructed us to have boundaries. The second reason that we're deconstructed, or why boundaries are hard for us to implement, is, let's say that this is 2-3, okay? And these two kind of combine, is that if you're an empath, we don't like to hurt people. Because one of the things about being an empath is that if we can look at a certain situation or hear a story of somebody that went through something, and we will hurt as though it happened to us. And man, this is such a difficult gift to have, but that's just what happens to us. And we, because we feel the sensitivities, it's difficult for us to put boundaries towards somebody else, because the last thing that we want to do is hurt somebody, because we're so aware of what the hurt feels like. Does any of this make sense to you? If it does, give me a thumbs up, a clap, hands up, right? So for these primary reasons, whenever I look at my life and I look at the life of women that I work with, there are certain situations that I say, you know what, either that person was the perfect target, or that person didn't even have a chance to make a different choice in their life, because coming out of the gun, the circumstances that they were exposed to didn't even give them a fighting chance. So let's not be mad that they're behaving this way. It's like they're lucky to still be alive. And I think that when it comes to saying no, that women in general, and I'm making a very broad stroke, is that just for being born authentically female, that we are in a disposition that we're just not taught to protect ourselves. So one of the first formulas that I want to gift to you is, when it comes to living in your joy, living in your joy creates your vibrations, create your manifestations. You need to go, you need to understand that an empath plus no boundaries, which living without no is, equals emotional and physical sufferances. So from this day forward, it needs to become a non-negotiable. And when I say non-negotiable, a non-negotiable is something that's simply not up for discussion. I will repeat that. A non-negotiable is something that is simply not up for discussion. And though I don't have time today to go into non-negotiables, and maybe we can run a class on this, even though it's in the curriculum of the Feminine Boss Academy. A non-negotiable is, for example, my emotions are not up for negotiation. My emotions are a non-negotiable. Why? Because they're my emotions and I know what I'm feeling. And as I'm feeling it at that moment, that is the reality of my life. And I don't need somebody to come in and say, you shouldn't feel that way. No, you shouldn't feel that way based on your history. I know exactly how I'm supposed to feel based on what I've been through, based on the experiences that I have, based on a whole variety of things. Non-negotiables are things that are simply not up for negotiation. And can you imagine that we women are taught to negotiate our no? This is unbelievable, because no is our lifeline, ladies. No, what is the goal of no? Who can remember? No is put in our life to keep the good in and the bad out. And so when we are using that word no, we need to change the reference point from hurting somebody's feelings or getting abandoned by somebody because you put the word no in. How many of you have experienced that whenever you tell somebody no, that they threaten abandonment to you, or you fear that if you put a no up to somebody that they will abandon you? I'm going to give you a reality check. Only people who authentically love you will embrace your no. I'm going to repeat that. Only people who authentically love you will embrace your no. If you are with people that you cannot say no without them rejecting you, then that's not a relationship based in love. And those are not the people that you need around you, because when you keep those dodo birds in your life, you're not making room for people who authentically love you. And so, what do we do with those people that I'm so scared to lose them? Put them on your acquaintance list, not your inside circle. People who cannot honor your no do not deserve to be in your unguarded zone. Does that make sense? That for
Yes.
you to be unguarded, you cannot be open chested so somebody can hit you. That person goes into your secondary zone. You guys all know what the zones are. Shall I touch on that for just a second? So each of us has 3 zones in life, and it's really important to know this. And each zone has no entry written on the wall. And I wasn't planning on speaking about this, so somebody needs to hear this. So imagine that you have an inner tube around you, and this inner tube, like you have 3, okay? There's one right against your body, and then there's one outside of that, and then there's one more outside of that, okay? So the very first inner tube is around you, closest to you. These are the people that you can live unguarded with. These are the people that you can say no to, and they see it as, okay, that's their opinion, that's their boundary, that's their limit. I'm going to respect that, but it does not affect the love relationship. Okay. And these are people who you can live unguarded with. A question that you must learn to ask yourself is, can I live unguarded with this person? And you say, how do I know that? What does it feel like when you are with this person? Do you feel that you can let your guard down? Do you feel that you can be the authentic self? And I love this description. And the authentic self is that magical, awesome, divine woman that you are, that is 100% magnificent and 100% still under construction in areas of your life. You can be both. Do you have somebody that can accept both of those sides of you? And you can be that powerhouse in one breath and that vulnerable side in another. That's a safe person. That's a person who you can live unguarded with. And when we live unguarded, those people have access to our thoughts and our emotions and our dreams and our laughter and our vulnerability and our creativity. Who is this resonating with? Let me see a show of hands. So the people who we can be unguarded with, these are the safe people in our life. And what we will find is that we either easily say no if they choose an option in life that just doesn't resonate best with us, and nothing's going to happen to our relationships except a clearer understanding of who you are. And that's the second thing that I want you to know what no is. No is the opportunity to keep the bad out and the bad out and the good in. But the second thing that no gives us this beautiful opportunity to make who we are clearer to the people around us. And the people who we express that to, those are the ones that go in our inner circle. They get access to us. The second inner tube that you have in your life is an inner tube called acquaintances. And acquaintances are people that you really, and you can spend time with them. but you just don't feel comfortable enough to live unguarded, that you live with certain boundaries. I have certain people, even within my family members, that I have to, in certain areas, not 100% in all areas, in certain areas in my life, they have to sit in my secondary inner tube people, because if I say no, they get mad. And I say, okay, they go back there. They go into level two. Now you're in my life because I want you in my life, because you're my family, because we have a history or whatever it is. But the second that somebody doesn't proves to me that my no is not respected, that they lose access to everything that comes in the unguarded area. See, it's such a privilege to be with you. Did you know that? That when I'm with people, I try to take this conscious effort and to say, it is such a privilege for me to pass these moments with this person, because this person can choose to pass with anyone. And I'm going to choose to be hopefully safe with this person to be able to feel that. Now, remember, there's manipulative people out there, so you got to be careful. We're not talking about narcissists and all the other different things, right? And then the third inner tube are the people who they are on the outskirts of your life. You either know them, don't know them, or you know them distantly. And these are the people that, if we find that we have a trauma wound and we are oversharing, put a no on yourself. No. So it's really important that in order for you to live in joy, that you do an examination as to who you're letting into your circle, your inner circle, pardon me, your middle circle, or your external circle. And people can toggle. There's times where you can be in close relationships with your spouse, with your siblings, with your friends, and they could do something else, and they're like, "Ooh, hold on, man. Trust is temporarily broken." And for that moment, that person goes from your inner circle to your mid circle, if not your out circle, depending on what it is. Trust can be rebuilt, of course, but the formula is trust with change. Trust can be rebuilt, but the formula, and everything's about formula, is trust with change. So if somebody continues to repeat hurt you in the same areas, they're not willing to change. And that's when your no needs to kick in. No is a love word. Keep the good in and the bad out. No is a love word. It allows you to see me more clearly. How many of you along your journey have found that you're evolving? You're at a stage of your life where you're like, "Ooh, I'm evolving right now. I am really turning into something. There's something in me stirring, and this is exciting." And you find that the people around you don't want you to evolve and change. This is where the beautiful gift of no comes in, is that whenever we go through an evolution, we have to share with the people around us, "Hey, I'm changing. I'm changing." And I know I used to allow you to do that to me, but as of today, I can no longer allow you to do that to me. Now, isn't that a much nicer way of putting up the no boundary than say, "How could you do this to me? Victim, why would you do this again? Addicted victim." Instead of simply just saying, "So from this day forward." And okay, but Tracy, Dr. Tracy, I've tried that and they continue to repeat. Then 3 times you're out. And you tell them, "This is the second time I've told you that I've changed in this area, and I'm just concerned. I want to make sure that you heard it, because this formula that you're using towards me, you plus yelling plus my trauma wounds, doesn't equal sustainable love." I'm going to say that again. You plus yelling plus my trauma wounds doesn't equal sustainable love. Who needed to hear that? And these are the formulas that we need to go in and change. I have a question that I ask myself for my joy level, for my success level, and that is, okay, if I'm faced with a situation and I'm doing something, blah, 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 is this a sustainable formula? And I have found so many times this is not a sustainable formula. There were so many areas of my life where I did not have a sustainable formula. So these wonderful things called boundaries or no gives us the opportunity to reinvent or establish for the first time. Now, the beautiful thing about no is that no doesn't have to be delivered harshly. And whenever we're exercising a new muscle, we overdo it. No, we're like the 2-year-old that got her voice taken away. No, no. It doesn't have to be. It can be like, oh my gosh, that just doesn't work for me. That's another way to say no. Oh yeah, that just doesn't work for me. Oh no, that sounds really wonderful, but I'm not able to do that. I don't ever say I can't do that because 9 out of 10 times I can. And I'm going to share how many of you have people that ask you for money? Just the other day, I had somebody who I don't even know just send me a text saying, hey, I need to make a bill. Can you send me some money? And the thing is that, especially as an empath, we're givers. Who needs to hear this on money? We are givers. And so when we see somebody in need, we don't want people to suffer. This is our DNA. So we will do what we can to help. When it comes to money, if a person's asking you for money, there's a good chance that unless you're a bank, they're not going to be able to pay you back. So your yes and your no within that needs to be yes, I can give you this much money, but I know I'm not able to give you the amount that you want, but you have it. You have it in the bank. Yes, I have it in the bank because I have responsibilities and obligations that I need this money. And so you can use the word yes to be able to set a boundary of no. Can I have $100? Let's see. Can you lend me money? How much? $100. Let's see. Yes, I can lend you money. That's $20. 20. I need 100. I can give you $20 with no resentment. Didn't even have to use the word no. Do you see? But this is consciously thinking about how the variety of different ways that we can put up boundaries, especially if we've been raised in a house where there were no boundaries, which is really scary because we literally go backward to boulder because we don't know how to set boundaries. Or we lived in a house where there were strict boundaries that killed our spirit, or violent boundaries and the screaming and things of that nature. No is a love word. So I want you all to think right now about just somebody who is asking you things. And I don't know what faith everyone comes from, and I'm not saying this as a faith-based statement whatsoever, but there is, oh, it's somewhere in the Bible, and it says, I don't remember the exact place, but it says, my cup runneth over. And that really stuck with me because the boundary that we have is, can I have what you have? Because the cup represents what we have in our abundance, right? Can I have what you have is what people who are boundary violators ask for. And you can say, yes, from my runneth over. It's the people who want to get inside your cup and drink that which is meant just for you, that those are the ones that we're to put the word, that love word of no. Oh, let me clarify something to you. I am somebody who's super generous, except I will not allow anyone to come in and take what's in my cup. Why? Because I need my cup for sustainability, for sanity, for safety. The 3 S's: sustainability, sanity, safety. I can share this much, but I want that much. I can share this much, but I want that much. I can share this much. Would you like it or no? Do you see how it works? So I want you to think about these situations where somebody is asking you to give more than you receive. Dr. Tracy, how do I know if I'm giving more than I have to give? Sorry, that's what I meant to say. How do I know if I'm giving more than I have to give? You feel it. You feel it right in your gut that you're like, this doesn't feel right to give this. You feel a little scared. And then your empath, your wounded empath will kick in and say, yeah, but you know what? This person needs it. The purpose of life is to live in joy. And your joy is the first thing that you're supposed to protect. I'm not talking about if you're raising children. Okay. I am not talking about raising children and the certain sacrifices that you make with pleasure to give your child the best life that they can. I'm talking about raising adults. I'm talking about not letting people adult because we give what we're not supposed to give. Next thing, how do we say no with zero rejection? The way that we say no with zero rejection is to reframe what no means. When you can really reframe, no, it's no, oh, that's such a rejecting word. Mm-mm. No, it's such a hard word. Mm-mm. You need to change your belief system on what you need to change your relationship on what the word no means to you. To me, no is a love. But you know what? If I say no to that person, I'm closing down opportunity for them. You're not closing down opportunity for them. There is a perfect plan for each of us in place. If I'm going along and I'm trying, no, and I'm trying, no, and I'm trying, no, does that mean I'm not meant to experience these great things in life? No, that's not what that means. There's a better place for the other person on the other side of our no. And I really trust that to the core of my being, that when I have to say, oh no, I can't give that, I can't do this, I'm not able to do this, I'm not able to do that, that I trust that person's emergence in my life when they wanted to violate that place that's mine. What's better for them is over here, even if it doesn't appear like that at first. But I changed my belief, I changed my relationship with what it means to hear no and what it means to say no to another person. That if it's not right, if it's not a win situation, it's not a win situation, then that's not meant to be in your life. How do I know if it's a win? You feel it. You feel it. We have this amazing thing called our emotional guidance system, and it guides and directs us, and it talks to us through our gut, and it talks to us through feeling. And we have every right to operate in win situations. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and it was about a friend that I used to be close with, and time, space, and everything has drawn it away. And I got to thinking, I'm like, what made me pull back from that person? And I realized at that point, there was no reciprocity, that I was doing all the giving and they were doing all the taking. And I'm like, that is not a sustainable formula. And if I really love somebody, I'm going to be aware of the reciprocity in the relationship on both sides. Am I doing my proper giving? And am I doing my proper receiving? And the beautiful thing about it is that the people who are on your inner circle, you can just simply say it. You know what? I need you to step in just a little bit more, or I'm going to have to pull back. Which do you prefer? That's a way to say no. Do you realize that? I just told this person that behavior is no longer acceptable in my life. But I said, I'm going to need to have you step in, or I'm going to have to step back. Which feels better to you? Isn't that great? So there are so many ways that we can say no in the name of love. So when we hear no, when somebody tells us no, that means that the need that we have, this is super important. It doesn't mean you give up the need that you have. it means that you're not going to receive that need through that person. So go on your merry way, because the right person to help you go to the right step is there. And for those of you who are thinking, but shouldn't I just rely on God source to bring me my next step? You can rely on God's source for the inspiration, but you are stuck in a physical world. You are here in a physical world. And in this physical world, we need people in order to create and manifest things for our life. Does that make sense? So when no comes into our life, what we normally do is we go, oh my gosh, they don't love me. Don't care about me. No, the truth is their no just means that's not what they want in life. And who are we to push our way in somebody else's life? We don't have the right to do that to another human being, but they're my spouse. That is just a label. They are a human being on their own journey, just like you are a human being on your own journey. I often have people say, well, what does love look like? And the vision that I was given that love looks like, it looks like this. You fly like this together. It's never like this. It's going to weigh you down. It's two separate people. If this one moves this way, this one says, oh man, look at her grow. I'm going to go this way with her. And when this one says, I got to move this way in my life, you say, ooh, beautiful move. I'm going with you. And you never stop the other person from expanding into their full definition of who they are and experiencing their life that they came here to experience. Because the beautiful thing about the billions of people on this earth, they're the right friends that are out there, that what you find quirky and fun, also find quirky and fun. There's somebody who loves the sex that you love just as you love it. There's somebody who has the same type of religious experiences that work for you. And the goal in life is to say yes to those people who are your tribe. And it's okay to say no to those who are not, because on the other side of that, if you try to merge these two things and make them work, you're not going to vibrate high. You're not going to be happy. When you have the acceptance, they believe this and they believe that, and yet we can still do this. And this one says, hey, I want to go for a mud run. You want to come? And you go, hell no, man, I want to go to the beauty supply store. Do you understand? It doesn't mean that it has to be the end of a relationship. It's just saying, this doesn't work for me, but I love you. But I love you. Go fly. Does this make sense to you all?
Yeah.
So the word no is one of the most powerful words in the English language, in every language under translation. And it's something that if you want to step into the highest vibrating person that you are, to live in the highest thoughts, the formula is this: joy has an address. Every day of your life, you need to be consciously aware of the purpose of life is to live in joy. Joy is to find us the things that make you say, I love this person. And you say, but I don't love that about that person. Okay, you don't love that about that person. Let them be free. You're not a twin, you're a separate individual. Let them be free. And what you'll find is your joy will come back and their joy will come back. And if it's an authentic love, you guys will merge back together, right? No is a love word. Without it, we do not know where people stand in our life. How many of you in the room have been abandoned by somebody, or have, let me word it a different way. How many of you have abandonment trauma? One,
We,
one of the, it's a very real thing. Abandonment trauma is a very real thing. Abandonment trauma is one of the things that will make us people pleasers. It will make us the too nice girls. it will make us easily taken advantage of, is because we become yes people. Yes, even at the sacrifice of me, just because I am terrified. I am terrified about you rejecting me. One of the things I learned on my recovery process from abandonment trauma is that for my heart and my soul to heal, and the way I used to say it is that abandonment trauma is something that it's like a hole in your soul, and you don't know where it begins and where it ends, but it's there, chronically there, telling you that you're not enough, that you're rejectable, that people easily leave you. This is not a sustainable formula to build your life upon. And it is a lie. Maybe one, two, three people abandon you, but that's because after the first person did, you were programmed to choose that for love. You were programmed not to be able to have boundaries of no in your life. But one thing that I found is that in order to heal, I need to know where people stand in my life, and I need to know where I stand in other people's lives. And it was several years ago, I wrote about it in my book, How Not to Care What People Think. And I got a vision. And the vision that I got was I was in a tunnel. So any of you get really clear dreams? So I'm in a dark tunnel and I'm running. And I was a bit anxious. And all I know is that there's a pin-sized hole at the very end of this dark tunnel. And I was running and I was anxious and I was running and I'm running towards the light. And all of a sudden, what I realized in my dream, as dreams are, is that I was preparing to present the new me to the world. I had evolved. And to this day, I lean into this vision because as long as we're on this human journey, we will never stop evolving. So we need to get comfortable with every day expanding into the new definition. You never know when you're going to have small blips or suddenly huge impacting downloads that will say, oh my gosh, that person that I was, she's my history. And now it's time to step into something more magical of myself. So in this dream, I'm running to the light. And all of a sudden I realized that I was coming out and I was going to show the people around me who I am. And the biggest fear that came over me is what I understood is only the people who are standing there accept you for who you are. And I was getting anxiousness because as I was running towards this light, I started thinking, who's going to be there? Is my mom going to be there? Is my father going to be there? What friends of mine are going to be there? And I was terrified as I was running towards this light. But what this piece that came over me is until you know who really loves you, you're not going to have that strong foundation in your life. And what I learned from that vision is who loves you. And as you evolve and become this new person and start to say, I know I used to accept that, but I can no longer accept that. Why? Because it keeps me in a prior version of myself that I am no longer. I have evolved beyond that person. And so this is the new me. Can you accept that? No, I can't. Oh, that makes me really sad because I was really hoping you would. That's the only person in the world that loves me. No, it's not. Or they walk away and they think about it and they say, wow, I think I want to get a chance to get to know this new person called you. And the people who are there that accept your, I'm sorry, I'm no longer that person. Or I need to let you know I'm no longer that person, loves you. And the way to live a high vibrating life is to go through life really knowing who your tribe is. Because if you continue to fall in love with the person that you're evolving into, the people who authentically love you will cheer you on and love that person. And many times, until we start to set no's on people, no, I won't allow you to treat me that way. Until you learn to put no's on certain beliefs, no, I can no longer live by that belief. It's not a sustainable formula. Until you surround yourself in a career that says, I have all these gifts and talents, and no, I cannot stay here any longer because I'm not able to express them to my highest definition of self. These are love words for yourself and for others. And our job in life is to live in joy. And to live in joy means to redefine your relationship with the word no, to understand that it's a love word. So that's all I have today. I hope that you all enjoyed this and we have some takeaways that we can share around the room. And then Tia can also tell you about anything else that we have coming down the pike, which is lots of stuff to get to joy. Tia, I'll throw it back to you.
All right, go have a great week and practice saying no to someone this week, and then send us a note and let us know how this new skill is working in your life.